I was mortified. My husband and I got into the car with our groceries and drove home in complete silence. I cried myself to sleep that night. I felt like a failure. I remember emailing God a letter. There are actual sites that allow you to do that. And while, of course, I knew this email wasn't going to God's inbox, it felt therapeutic to hit send on all my grievances. I thought God opened doors and windows. I thought God owned the cattle on 1,000 hills. I thought God answered prayers. Where was my testimony? It felt like God had played me. I had done everything right. I focused on school. I excelled in my teaching. Yet, here I had nothing to show for it. At this same time, one of my best friends, Jewel, called me. She had just been hired by NASA as a recruiter for their minority student program. I couldn't get a job teaching at a community college, and Jewel was now employed by NASA. I am so happy for you. I legit choked. And it's not that I wasn't happy for her, I was. I was just also so deeply sad for myself. That was the moment I learned a lesson in my life that I've repeated to myself 100 times since. Heather, it's not your turn. Sometimes you show up to someone else's party. Sometimes you force yourself to clap when you really want to cry, because emotions aren't always singular. You are allowed to feel sad for yourself while also being happy for what is happening to someone else. I clapped for Jewel because she deserved it. It wasn't my turn, but it was hers. And I had to be the friend she needed. In today's culture, it's a race to the top of the ladder. According to Pew Research, millennials are the most educated generation. No one does comparison quite like millennials. We have apps for everything. And yet Yale University found people are happier and healthier the less time they spend online. We are the generation of hashtags and filters. Everything is created to project an image of who we want to be, which is never as we actually are. We try our hardest to be witty in 140 characters or less. We post photos of our nights out, and the scene is always way more intriguing than the night really was. Once I went to the beach with a friend. She experienced nausea from her early pregnancy. She complained the entire time and never got in the water. Within an hour, she asked to leave. That night, she posted the 2 photos we took with the caption, "Fun in the sun." That was one of the first times I realized we have totally curated online lives that are almost nothing like what we live. We get dozens of comments, hundreds of likes, and it fuels our need to continue with the charade. Anything for a hit. If only our real lives felt as successful as our cropped ones. I can't think of a single millennial friend who hasn't had some type of struggle with either anxiety or depression. Not a single one. Which means, though we may feel alone, we aren't. There are probably thousands, if not millions of us sitting right now feeling as though it's never going to be our turn. I think some of this is the reason we often feel unfulfilled. We want everyone around us to believe we have it all together, and we don't. We fear everyone else is living the lives they post, and we are the only imposters. And so, the race is on. The race to perfection. The race to instant success and gratification. The race toward fame, promotion, and adoration. But what if life isn't meant to be raced through? What if it's meant to be lived? My mentor is Jose Rojas. He was a spiritual advisor for 2 U.S. presidents. On one of our first phone conversations, he said to me, "What if you'll actually get to where you want to be quicker by slowing down?" I didn't get it, but now I do. What if by rushing through the process, we end up as a rushed product? Jesus, who entered the world as a baby and would need to die as a man, tells us all we need to know about the heavenly value of process. We value the product. God values the entire process. What if by slowing down, you get to where you're going faster? It's hard to keep up. We are always in competition with one another because we have